endeavors during this time. That being said, I want to be sure that we make a point about why we're here tonight because you are promoting a new project. I want to go down the project. I don't
Yes.
want to miss that because I haven't talked to you in a long, long time. So
Long
we
time,
can we
right?
can talk about just try to catch up. But I want to be sure from a marketing standpoint that people understand you have a new project out that they absolutely need to get. So tell me about
Yeah.
the project and how people can get a hold of it.
Absolutely. So, Hooked is my new project entitled Hooked. It's my second record, second solo record on my own label, Smithworks Music Group. And again, I partner with Red Alliance Media, Stephanie Andre, and Fair Trade out of Nashville. And it is the record that symbolizes L, right? It's not
Okay,
that record. This record is not Bishop or Pastor.
I
This
got you.
record features me as L. Spenser, the artist. And one of the great things that I love about this record is that it was co-produced by my son, who is my vice president of our record label. And um, I this record would have not come to pass unless he helped me organize my thoughts around what I believe my central purpose is in life, and that is to reveal the love of God to people. And what I've learned since I started, even in my songwriting, my early songwriting, I've always been fascinated with communicating to people the overwhelming unconditional love of God.
I like that.
And that's my assignment as a pastor. And what I learned is because I grew up in church. I grew up in Pentecostal church all my life. I just been a church boy. I've not been clubbed. I've been none of that. I've always been a church boy. And I just saw how, not to cast aspersions on the church, but how they mishandled the message of God's love.
Gotcha.
And how we were more hell and retribution oriented than we were love and restoration oriented. And my thought is that the highest principle and the highest nature of God is restorative. God
Wow.
doesn't say that I am hate, He says I am love. He identifies Himself with the decision to do the best and best is just the word that I can come up with in my own human cognition,
Right.
but to do all that He can to show us how valuable we are to Him. And so, what this record starts off with is a compilation of 12 songs that really spell out from the beginning to the end. It's a soundtrack of love songs, really,
Wow.
that express this whole relationship that God is hooked on me.
Wow.
He loves me, and then I become like Paul. I've got to apprehend that for which I've been apprehended, and at the end of the day, I'll let nothing separate me from what the
The
love of
love of
God,
God.
which is in Christ Jesus. So it's God chasing me, I'm chasing Him, and both of us getting hooked on each other, and that's the entire record.
Wow. Hey, dude, I love that. I love that. I love that at the end of the day, you can articulate what your purpose is to show God's love. Now, as another man of faith, I also understand that if you've gotten to this particular purpose in your life, that doesn't come easy. That there's a lot of experience that comes. There's a lot of pain that comes with it. There's a lot of things, a lot of tests and trials that come when you actually say, hey, God, I learned it. The love
Right.
is the purpose that I have. And out of all of that, how you say, okay, this is how I'm loving now. I'm loving people now. How do you use
Yeah.
your experience to show that love to people?
Well, one of the things, and again, I'm an open book. I'm transparent because I like that in ministry. I love that with music and preaching, whatever that is. Again, the seminal moment for me with regards to understanding my purpose is that in college, I was preaching. I was a director at 18, 19 years old, 20. I'm a dynamo. I'm leaving school, going to tour with the choir, going to preaching around the country, going back to school. I'm just the big guy on campus at FAMU. And then, drum roll, I have my girlfriend, my wife, then girlfriend, had children out of wedlock.
Wow.
And right at the pinnacle of my ministry. And I was so embarrassed and shame. And, I'm like, oh my God. So I remember, I went home to tell my pastor, the one that licensed me, who I was under. And I got back home and he said to me, okay, I know what happened. I know what's going on. He said, but how long you home? I said, well, I'll be home. I'm going to stay home till about Monday. He said, cool. You're preaching today. I said, wait, hold on. I'm doing what? He said, you're preaching today. Get ready to go preach. No conversation. I didn't even have a message prepared. He said, you're preaching today. So I got up there and, Strick, it was probably one of the most delivering messages that I ever preached in my life.
Wow.
And then after it was over, the altar was filled, and I was praying for people. We got back to his office. He says, "Here's what told me." He said, "I just wanted you to do that, not because you didn't mess up. I wanted you to know that your mistakes and your failures did not take the hand of God off of your life. You are
Wow.
still called and you're still anointed. And I needed you to understand that. I know what you did wrong, but I still know what God has already done in your life and what He's already called you." It was that moment, that love of God, right then and there. I knew that I couldn't be judgmental,
Wow.
and I couldn't be that dude. And even when I started off young in my pastorate, I was trying to be that dude that was disconnected from that testimony.
Right.
And what is amazing about Hook is when the hook came out, one of my friends who called me, he said, "You know what? Here's the full circle moment, Strick, that the baby boy that I had, which was twins, but the baby boy that I had was the one that helped me push forth this record." So
Wow.
Hooked is a full circle moment that came out of the brainchild and the instruction direction of the baby that came out of that fallen moment.
Wow.
So that wasn't a mess. That was really my miracle that birthed my ministry now. And so I tell people now, there is nothing you can do that can make God stop loving you. You can't out sin God's love. You cannot. You just can't do it. Where sin did abound, grace does much more abound. And that's my testimony. That's what I share to people. And that's why you got to get this record. He
Wow.
wrote this song called Saints Remorse, which is the which is a big song on it because it expresses the entire record and the relationship that we have, trying to do all we can to love God the way that He loves us.
Wow. Listen, a
I
lot
just
of
gave you a
times,
long version.
no. This is great. In a couple past shows, I've had some guests get emotional telling their testimony. I'm listening to your testimony and I'm getting emotional. Like this is hitting me. I know that people out there are feeling what you're saying because a lot of people that I know, they didn't have good leadership in the times when they fell, and it
Right.
made the fall harder. Some people fell out of the church because of bad leadership. So for somebody
Yeah.
to actually catch you in a time like that and love you like a real leader should, because that multiplied the love in you to other people. And
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
appreciate you sharing that because so many folks are not transparent enough to share their failures. That's the thing that connects us with everybody. Because,
Absolutely.
we're all men that make mistakes that thank God that in our weakness, He is strong. Like we can then pull
Absolutely.
His strength to say, "Hey, it's not me." God used our whole Bible. He used a whole bunch of people, and I think He did it on purpose so we wouldn't glorify Moses. We wouldn't glorify Abraham because these
Yeah.
guys were regular men that made mistakes. They just had God anointing on them like we do to
Right.
do what God has purposed us to do, which you have already articulated, which is to love. Man, this
Yeah.
is awesome.
Absolutely.
This is awesome. Just the fact that it was full circle and your son
Yeah.
helped you with this album. I gotta say this. I want to play the song "Saints Remorse," and before I do this, I gotta shout out Patricia Smith. She's been commentating the whole night on Facebook in the comments. So I don't know if you know her or she's watching tonight. Patricia
Oh, that's my
Smith.
wife.
That's your wife. She's
That's
been
Patrice. Patrice.
commentating the
No,
whole
that's my
night.
wife. What
Listen,
you doing?
Listen, she's been commentating. I've been throwing it up. When you see the video, you're gonna see all of it. So, First Lady, I'm
That's
sorry
her. Yeah.
I didn't catch the name, First Lady. But thank you for hanging out with us and adding the commentation that I could just throw up on the screen so people can say what they can actually see what we're saying. And he gave you a huge
Right,
shout
right.
out. So the next time you get like one of them Mary Kay checks, I'm not the church, but I'll take a tithe. You know what I'm saying?